Hello there, everybody, and welcome all to Escape Room the Game. Whoops. Probably should have started like that. I don't care. I am Mr. Anything, your host for today. Yes, I have not done one of these in forever. And, yeah. Just gonna keep you down there, because why not? This by far is my favorite escape room. I love Nuclear Countdown. It's very suspenseful. It's very think-worthy, like, okay, how do I do this? Oh, now I see. Oh, everything's coming together. And to have been in the middle of this game, it's like something that no escape room has ever thought of. It's really, really, really cool. So, I've been watching all my videos and all my comments. Seems that most people only care about just the solution, but I have seen a majority of people care about how the solution is done. So I'm going to show you both, and I'm just going to show you the solutions for all three first, because you're probably just like, I just want to know the solution. Please, 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 just do it. And some of you are like, oh, I have all the time in the world. Just show me how you did it. So, yeah, this is the code for all three. Start. Ooh, creepy music. So the first code is 2, 2, 1. Oh, it didn't even put you in. Sorry. 6. 1 second. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I know what I did wrong. I had the keys on backwards. It is not 2216. It is 1, 6. The camera's blurry for some reason. 2, 2. There we go. Okay. Our next key is, or number 2 is 5, 4, come on, 1, 1. Magic. Next, and the last one is 5 or C, 2 or D, 3 or F, and then 4 or E. Wow, exactly 5900. The reason why I referred to them as letters is because the reason in number 3, in part 3, you use letters for them. Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah, that's the example. If you want to stick around for how you get all of them, go ahead and stick around, but I'm not going to make you, but I'm going to go right into the examples now. Okay then, ladies and gentlemen, here is the explanation for Nuclear Countdown Part 1. So when you open your folder, I think my folder's, yeah, the folder's way over there. But yeah, it talks about bomb placing, about this guy called Robert, no. What is his name? William Turner, that's what his name is. And he places a bomb and he wants to sit at the River Barn restaurant and watch a bomb explode. And you'll understand why all that's important, because it's important, actually. It's the first thing I've actually seen of a letter being important, because it has some information in there. But yeah, once you open it up, you'll be greeted with this giant map of, what is this? Map of Grand Fernwick. You'll have this letter, this bomb, beginner diffusing instructions, the tracking thing, I don't know, grand pickup reminder thing, yeah, that. The Grand Stadium reservation thing, I don't know what you want to call it, a receipt, another receipt, and then a checklist thing, I don't know. Oh, and also large string. Now, when you get greeted with this, you're probably going to think, okay, then there's a bunch of this stuff. Okay, then there's about this. You'll probably go straight to this thing. Now, depending on which side it is, doesn't matter, but what you want to focus on is this side. Now, what you're planning Now what you're first plan on doing is filling in all of these coordinates. Now as you go through, I should have brought my paper with me, but each of these coordinates line up to one place, and 1 second, I need to get my paper. It's in the other room. I'll be right back. Okay, so I have my list now, just right over here. Okay, let me get that out. Now what the hard part about this is you have to write down every single place he was at these desired times. Now the problem with that is that there are 4 coordinate places missing, and what you have to do is you have to use every one of these little things to figure out exactly where he was at this time. But each thing isn't always at that. Each thing isn't for just this, because it's for our second part of, so what our answers we're trying to find exactly where he placed the bomb. So what you have to do is you just go down here and mark these coordinates out, x32, y36, and that is actually at the university, and I have it all on my paper over here, so I'm just going to go quickly. Here, where are the coordinates? Oh, I don't know where the coordinates are. That's why you look at the time right here, 10 a.m. Now this is where you're going to look around here, and you can actually see on this paper, it says at 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and a little picture and a little thing on the back, and that's actually a clue for later, and I'll tell you exactly what it's about. So yeah, now you're going to put the Grand Stadium on your card. Next thing is x24, y29, that comes out to the gardens. The next thing up is a question mark, 1:39. Now this one, it doesn't give you an exact time, but that's just so you actually have to think. So this thing right here, it's the welcome to the kiosk. It says time 1:45 p.m. Now, it does say 1:39 p.m. on the card right there, as you can see, but that would mean that he would have been there for less than almost 5 minutes. I would say, no, he would be there for 6 minutes from then to then, and why would he go anywhere else? So obviously he was at the Tower of Grand Fernwick. Put that on there. Now this one, 2:13 p.m. You're probably looking around like, okay, where the heck is it? You actually have to turn this over right here. Turn it over, and nothing on here actually matters except right here, 3:22, 2:13 p.m. text. Hi mom, beautiful view from Grand Fernwick Bridge today, meaning that at 2:13 p.m., I think I said 2:13 p.m., sorry, he was at the bridge. Next one up is a coordinate, and that's go to the cathedral. You don't really have to worry about the time because I think there is a time on here, but it doesn't have anything to do with it, so don't worry about the time. The next thing up is also a coordinate, and that is the wire bridge. The next thing up is not a coordinate, but it's this thing right here. The pickup coat at 4 p.m. That's at Grand Stadium, so Grand Stadium on there. And then the last thing is Bar and Grill, because that's where he was going to watch the bomb get off. Okay, now that we got his 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 locations, what we have to do is we actually have to lower them down to 5. First and foremost, from using that little note and thing or something like that. Also, we can look in here. Where is it? Here it is. March 10, tea with mom. Now the bomb's supposed to go off on this time. Now we can obviously tell that from using this and this, we can come together to think that he's not planning on dying. He's not planning on committing suicide because he's having tea with his mom on Monday the 30th, which is the day after the bomb goes off. So what we have to do is, let's just take this real quickly. So where is it? Here we go. Here's the thing that we need to do. To be a successful bomb, to destroy any target within 50 meters. So that must mean that since he is going to here to watch the bomb go off, the bomb cannot be placed anywhere closer than 550 meters. catching what I'm catching. So let's first get the reasonable thing out. Why would he plant it under that? Because that is definitely less than 550. So we can obviously take that thing off right there, the barn grill. Now how do we figure out how much is 550 and which places are far away from it? We'll actually measure the string out right here on the 500 yards. Now, it's not 550, but since there's 5 right here, that obviously means it must be 100. Or, yeah, must be 100, so just get half of it. So measure it out for 50 and then get half of it. And I think that's how much it is. Hold on. Yeah. Hold on, I forgot to do this. Hold on, pause real quick so I can... I'll pause real quick so I can go tell you later. Okay, so I got 2 locations narrowed down. Now, if you did it, you were probably like, 2, I only got 1. That's because you did follow the 550, but we are going to look at this thing right here. It does say, diner with a view. You can see as far as Tower of Grand Fernwick. Now, as the letter stated, William Teller wanted a window seat, William seat, from on the Riverview bar and restaurant so he could see the bomb go off. Now, why would he place it so far off that he couldn't see it if he wants to see it? That's what you're going to do. So you're going to measure from the Riverview bar to the Grand Fernwick and trace around and see if it hits all of them. If one of the places on here goes outside of the string, then that place can be crossed off, which outside of the string is Grand Fernwick University. And the thing that was so close when we went back was the wire bridge. So, yeah. Now you have 5 destinations down because you have the Grand Stadium twice. So that just counts as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. And then it also says at the back right here, this is the clue right here. Upside down. I am so funny and brilliant. After today, the only way to see that special shape is to walk my route via the 5 remaining locations, because after the bomb goes off, the shape will be gone forever. That states that you have to have 5 locations. I should have mentioned that earlier. So you have to place your string starting from the Grand Stadium to the gardens, to the tower, to the bridge, to the cathedral, and then tracing back. And that will give you a place of how the thing looks. And let me show you that real quick. I have just done it real quick, and yes, it doesn't look as good, but what it is it actually shows roughly a shape of one of those locations. Actually, it actually shows the shape of Grand Fernwick Bridge, and maybe you caught that, maybe you didn't. It was hard to see, but yeah, that's the shape of it. So now what you're going to do is you're going to use math. Obviously, just think of this, that x becomes before y, and you're going to figure out the coordinates of that. And the coordinates are 1, 6, there it is, and 2, 2. And I accidentally did 2, 2, 1, 6 at the beginning, and yeah, that's y before x, so that's not correct. So yeah, the answer for the code is 1622, and that is how you get to Grand Fernwick from completely nothing, just some simple things. So yeah, now we're going to go over to part 2, and that is a very short part, and then we'll go over to part 3, and then we'll be done. Okay, yes, this is all just part 2 right here. If you remember at the beginning of the video when I said that this is probably one of my favorite escape rooms because of how challenging it is, and also because it has a cool thing to it that no escape rooms do, and this is part 2 is the reason of how you get the code. Now, people look around the box and are like, I don't know, but it does say in the story that he wrote the code on the box because he keeps forgetting it. Clumsy William Teller. And if you're looking around the box, you're probably saying, oh, it's a phone, that's cool. Oh, look at that, that's the thing that has part 3 inside, because this is the suitcase for the bomb. That's what it's supposed to present. It has all this stuff, and it's like, oh, is that thing supposed to be it? No, actually, it's the cell phone. Now if you look right here, hold on, I think I can zoom in. It says answer machine, number 1, ton, secret 3. Now, using that little thing and the phone, what you are actually going to do is you are going to use your own phone. And trust me, you're not going to go to some customer service thing, but it will actually be an answer machine. I would show you with my phone, but I'm recording with my phone and I can't. But yeah, it does call up and say the answer to the vault or the answer to the chrono decoder is 5411. I repeat, 5411, something like that. Now the reason how to get to that is what you do is you just type it on your keypad. You do number 1, T, and you just type the numbers equivalent to it. TONSECRET 3. You call it and it will go up, and that will actually be it. And then you can open it up, and it's pretty cool. What's pretty cool is that they use technology they use stuff, they actually created this own thing and use things that the human world uses today and implants them into escape rooms. It's pretty cool. That's something I've never seen happen before. So yeah, that's part 2. I hope you understand it good. And yeah, now we're going to go into part 3, the third and final one. Okay, so this is part 3 of the nuclear countdown escape room. Once you open this box right here, you will have a few different things. You'll have the diffusion note. I'm just doing it on this paper right here because I like to reuse the stuff in there. You also get a black and white copy that has, for colorblind people, that has the colors, that has the color names instead of just the colors. So we'll say black and white or brown and yellow, if you know what I mean. On my left side, you will see a picture of the puzzle that you will build up, and that consists of what's inside of a little suitcase right here. On my right, you will see the beginner bomb diffusion note, which is from part 1, so you will also need that. So what you're going to do is you're going to build the puzzle, and it may take you a little while, so hopefully you have time to build it. And what you first need to do is you need to figure out exactly which one is the fuse, which one is the ignition, which one is the detonator, and which one is the explosive. Now, I have my paper up here, so yeah, that's probably why you see paper. I'm just reading off the answers right there so I can refer back to it. So to figure out that, you're actually just going to look on the bomb diffusion note. Now, don't worry much about the bomb description. It's right under the bomb use. It says the bomb uses a standard 211, hold on, it's hard to see that, uses a standard 211 detonator with a full body .23 ignition device. Now, we already know the detonator, so we don't have to worry about that. The good thing about this is if you look on the left side on the puzzle, it actually has the different things lined, like the different things, and they're corresponding to that. So where it says, since the detonator is already on there, we don't have to worry about that where it says with the full body .23 ignition, if we look over here on the puzzle, on the top right it says .23. That obviously means that that's the ignition. So on the top right on here, you'd write ignition at the top. Okay, next up, you're going to go down. Say 9 out of the 10 times the fuse is a Gore-Heine fuse, and the nuclear explosive is a compact 2-ton enhanced US TNT. So on the bottom right, it says TNT, meaning that must be the explosive. Okay. And then, as it says right here, it says 9 out of the 10 times the fuse is that type of fuse. The only thing left on here is blank, so that must mean that one is the fuse. Okay, you have everything labeled. Now we'll get on to actually diffusing it. So you can ditch this thing right here, because we don't need it, and pull up your little diffusion instructions, just like that, which is on the right side. Everything will be highlighted as we're going through it, so don't worry about it. But first, it's not on here, but here, one second. you can actually see that there is stuff on the back of here. It's Morse code. What you are going to need to do for that Morse code is actually go onto the chrono decoder, and you can see that the Morse code is right on these things right here. So go get those, and once you diffuse it out, I think it says never cut wires B and H. So all that means is that you can X out the wires B and H on every one of them. So B is on the left side, as you see under the fuse thing. It has the colors and it has the letters. You're going to, B is the blue and orange, so you'll cross out all the blue and oranges on every single one of these four, sorry. And then the H, which is the red and yellow, cross out all of those ones. Oh, whoops. Okay. So now as you read on your bomb diffusion note, black must always be cut at the fuse. So let's look at the fuse. Black must always be cut on the fuse. You look for a black wire, doesn't matter which color the other color is. So the only colors that have black on them is the red and black and the white and black. So you can cross out all the other colors. And since black must always be cut at the fuse, you can cross out the black and white and red and black wires on every other one. Because since those ones are black, they have to be cut at the fuse, so they can't be cut anywhere else. If that makes sense. Okay, same concept for the next one. White must always be cut at the nuclear explosive. So same thing for the nuclear explosive, find white in here and cross out all the other wires that are not white. That should leave you in the nuclear explosive with the orange and white wire. So that's the one that you're going to cut. But don't do anything with that. Just hold off on that. Meaning that as you're going through, you can't cut any of the other ones. So X out all of those ones. Okay, and then whoops. Hopefully that didn't change you. Okay, whoops. So on the detonator now we have the brown and yellow as the wire you're going to cut at the detonator. Now, if you know, do you have common sense? I'm not saying that if you struggle, if you got confused on this at all, but if you just stop and think for a little bit. If you cut a wire at one certain place, it's not going to carry electricity through it to be cut at a different place. So that means that since the detonator is the only place that's going to be having the brown and yellow wire to be cut, at the ignition, the brown and yellow wire cannot be cut because if it were to be cut, the detonator would just be cutting a non-wire, and I guess is what you could say. Okay then, next one. Always cut the wire at the ignition before you cut orange. We'll come back to that, but what that's just saying is that don't cut orange at the ignition, because if you need to cut the ignition before you cut orange, you can't have orange cut. How do I say this? You can't have the ignition cut. You have to cut the ignition, but you can't cut the orange with it. That may sound weird, but just think about it for a little bit. If you still have questions about that, put it out in the comments. But yeah, it doesn't matter because the orange and yet white is already crossed out and the orange and blue is already crossed out, so don't worry about it. Never cut 2 times in a row in the top or bottom part of the suitcase. We'll learn about that. Well, that'll come in handy later, but all that's saying is that you can't cut the fuse in the ignition at the same time, because over on the left side, as you can see, the suitcase is on the top. There's 2 things on the top and 2 things on the bottom. The fuse and the ignition are right next to each other. You can't cut those 2. As well as the detonator and the explosive, you can't cut. So it can't be detonator number 1 and explosive number 2. It can't be like that. It can't be fuse number 1, ignition number 2. So it has to be either like fuse, detonator, ignition, explosive, fuse. You get the gist. Now Next one up, always finish by cutting the wire at the detonator, but be careful not to cut green. So we'll go with the detonator and see that do not cut green at the detonator. That's what it's trying to say. And all the green wires at the detonator are already off. But right here, now what we're going to do is we're going to figure out the order of how everything's supposed to be cut. So referring to that one that we just heard and the two right before it, we can obviously figure out that the detonator has to be the last one because it says always finish. So you can put number 4 on it or wherever you want. Just put it, or put it like right there if you want. It's completely up to you. Now let's look at the explosive. You can do this any way you want, but the explosive will be the most helpful because you actually have a clear answer of that. The explosive. If you look at the one right above it, never cut 2 wires in a row in the top or bottom part of the suitcase. The explosive can obviously cannot be number 3, because then that would mean you'd be cutting explosive then detonator. That's not how it works. And it obviously can't be number 1 because, as the thing above that states, always cut the wire at the ignition before you cut orange. Meaning, since the explosive is orange, you have to cut that after the ignition. So the only possible answer there is number 2. Now we don't know whether this is number 1 or this is number 3. It's just, we'll figure that out in the next part. Always make sure to cut blue before you cut the nuclear explosive. Same concept there. It's going through. And hold on, I'm just thinking of something because because there is a way to remember how to do this. Hold on. Where is it? Oh, right. Go back up to white must always be cut at the nuclear explosive. I forgot to talk about that. The fuse, since there's a white on the fuse, that can't be cut at the fuse, so just ignore that. And yeah. So yeah, the other thing is the ignition, and we'll get to that. I don't remember how to get to it, but I'll just explain it. But yeah, always make sure to cut blue before you cut the nuclear explosive. Oh yeah, this is where it is, right here. So, before you cut the nuclear explosive, the only way to cut before it is if that thing's number 1, and then this is number 3. The fuse is obviously number 3, by deductive reasoning. Now right here, always cut blue before you cut the explosive, nuclear explosive. You can't cut the brown and green one because there's no blue in it, so you obviously can't cut that. So you have to cut the blue and the green one because, as said in the very last thing. So that leaves you with all 4 wires and the order you have to cut them. The ignition, the explosive, the fuse, and then the detonator. Yeah, okay. So yeah, and then what you do is you look at the colors. So green and blue, if you look on the left over here, green and blue is C. So you put C first, since it's the first one you cut. The explosive is the white and the orange, and that's D. The fuse, red and black, so that's F. And then finally the detonator, brown and yellow, which is E. Meaning that your answer is C, D, F, E to put in the chrono decoder. Now, that is the nuclear explosive. I hope you all enjoyed. If you have any questions, remember to send me them in the comments. I'm always open to help you if you ever need help or anything. Go check out all the other videos on the channel. There's that's mostly everything we have. There is a live stream happening every Saturday, but for the next 4 Saturdays, it's going to be camping, so it's going to be no live stream the next 4 Saturdays, but I think there will be one Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, I think that's everything you really need to know about nuclear explosive. So if you have any other questions, remember, just put them in the comments, and I will see you all Later.